According to a Muslim that I've been recently talking with, Christians are able to lie and deceive like Muslims are able to do with the Quran 328, 16:106, and Muhammad in the Hadith saying words. See, due, according to Muhammad, according to Muslims, but Muhammad is, due to St. Paul in Romans 3:7 and Philippians 1:18. That in Romans 3:7, Paul says we can lie. And in Philippians 1:18, Paul talks about acting like Jews, being under law, and being a Gentile to win people to Christ, and thus save them from hell. And according to the Muslims I'm talking to, that to get onto the subject or the level of a Jew, or under the law, or being a Gentile, to save that Jew or Gentile from hell, is worse than, say, a Muslim only acting like he's your friend through Taqqiya, so he can win sexually attractive beings in paradise, while the one who tricked, in paradise, while the one he tricked to shoot in the back is burning in hellfire forever with the good blessings of Surah 328, 16:106, and Muhammad saying, "Where is the seat?" To make the Muslim who did the shooting not feel guilty for such an act. I don't know about you, but this Muslim I talked with hasn't convinced me that the scripture he gave to show that a Christian can lie like a jihadi Muslim, with mainly Quran 328. For one thing, I noticed that this Muslim completely ignored the very next scripture right after Romans 3:7, and that is Romans 3:8, and the scripture right before it, right before 3:7, Romans 3:7, which would be Romans 3:6. That to me is proof that scriptures he tried to show are worse than a Muslim lying to get someone's guard down for killing through Taqqiya has been greatly taken out of context. If you don't believe me, well, first I'll read Romans 3:7, and then I'll read the two scriptures around it to put it back into context and prove that not only is Romans 3:7 a warning to not be a Muslim, putting 328 in 16:106, and Muhammad saying "Where is the seat?" Saying into play through Muslim Taqqiya, but that it's actually the total opposite, making you realize that Philippians 1:18 is not about deceit, but like what I suspected, just getting onto the level of others, seeking common ground in an effort to try to win their soul from hell. Here's Romans 3:7, the way this Taqqiya Muslim I talked with wishes it to be. Okay, this is from the Cambridge Bible, the King James Bible version of the Muslim quoted from. I'll give it to you here. Okay. Quote, "For if the truth of God hath more abounded through my lie unto his glory, why yet am I also judged a sinner?" The Muslim I was talking with totally ignored the scriptures around it, and ignored this scripture. It ignored that this scripture is rhetorical. It's a rhetorical question that is open-ended, an open question as well. For now, listen to the scriptures around it that put it into context, and let you know that Paul was telling the opposite of what a Muslim is allowed to do with obeying Quran 328 and 16:106. Okay, this is English Standard Version, 2001. By no means, for then how could God judge the world? If through my lie God's truth abounds to his glory, why am I still condemned as a sinner? And why not to do evil that good come? As some people slanderously charge us with saying. Their condemnation is just. You get that? I mean, they're right to judge you if you're lying. That's why I take that scripture. Here's the New American Standard. May it never be, for otherwise how will God judge the world? In other words, may yeah, do evil, may it never be, for otherwise why will God judge the world? Totally ignore that. May it never be that you lie to spread the gospel. But if through my lie the truth of God abounded to his glory, why am I still being judged as a sinner? And why not say, as we are slanderously reported, as some claim that we say, the Muslims are doing, let us do evil that good may come? Their condemnation is just. In other words, they're right to condemn you if you lie. That's how I take that. Holman Christian Standard Bible says this. Absolutely not. Otherwise, how will God judge the world? If you can lie to spread the gospel, I think. But if by my lie God's truth is amplified in his word, why am I also still judged as a sinner? And why not say, just as some people sometimes claim, we say, let us do evil so that good may come? ? The condemnation is deserved. So it's like, really, if you feel like you can, lie to spread the gospel, people are right to condemn you. Okay, King James. Okay, for God forbid that you lie to spread the gospel. For then, that's why I'm taking that. Or is any other sin? For then how shall God judge the world? Someone might argue, if my falsehood enhances God's truthfulness, it's not Paul talking, but he's being hypothetical. Someone might argue, if my falsehood enhances God's truthfulness and so increases his glory, well, why am I still condemned as a sinner? And not rather as slanderously reported, as we be slanderously reported, and as some affirm that we say, let us do evil that good may come, whose damnation is just. So, yeah, if your damnation is just if you do that stuff. Aramaic Bible, or is it as those whose judgment is reserved for justice slander us and report that we say, let us practice evil that good may come? Again, what it comes down to is Romans 3:7 is again an open-ended question. It's rhetorical, and Paul seems to be saying that those who condemn you for lying to spread the gospel are just to do so, because again, Romans 3:7 is an open question. It seems to be the opposite of what a Muslim is allowed to do with Quran 3:28. Okay, now, to me, the New International Version is the clearest version and proof that Paul is not acting like a Taqqiya Muslim, thinking on Quran 3:28, 16:6, Muhammad saying, "Where is the sea?" For here is how I feel it's really supposed to sound, and not taken out of context at all. Okay, this is Romans 3:3. What advantage then is there being a Jew, or what value is there in circumcision? Much in every way. First of all, the Jews have been entrusted with the words of God, with the very words of God. What if some were unfaithful? Well, their unfaithfulness nullify. Will their unfaithfulness nullify God's faithfulness? Not at all. Let God be true and every human being a liar, as it is written, so that you may be proved right when you speak and prevail when you judge. See, if you are proved right when you speak and prevail when you can't prevail, you can't be proved right if you're speaking lies. So that's right there is an anti-Taqqiya thing right here. Okay, Romans 3:5. But if our unrighteousness brings out God's righteousness more clearly, and what shall we say? That God is unjust in bringing his wrath on us? I am using a human argument, it says here. Certainly not. If it were so, how could God judge the world? Someone might argue, quote, if my falsehood enhances God's untruthfulness and so increases his glory, why am I still condemned as a sinner? Why not say, as some slanderously claim we say, let us do evil that good may result? ? Their condemnation is just. You're going to be condemned if you are acting like a Muslim using Taqqiya. That's what this is telling me. It's not Paul talking about, it's my line. But Muslims will take this scripture out of context. they'll take, I mean, they'll take 3:7 out of context and ignore this thing that says you're going to be condemned if you are acting like a Muslim with 3:28. And to me, this nullifies all other scriptures brought against Paul to try to make it look Christians can do taqiyya like Muslims. So I think I'll make this video. But let's see here. Oh yeah.